Welcome to another episode of the Next Generation Cowboy Creative Style. I have my amazing co-host, Miss Lindsay Miller, here with me today, and we are so excited to do a really awesome educational episode all about building a routine as a business owner and all the things that come along with it and all that jazz. But Lindsay and I have done some thinking and some talking, and we want to we want to show our appreciation to you as our listeners. And Lindsay, take it away.
Yeah. So our podcast is coming out every Thursday. So if you're listening to this, maybe you've already listened to all of the previous ones that we have already launched. If you're not, make sure you go back and listen to those. But these podcasts are coming out on Thursdays. So on Thursdays, after you listen, go to our social media pages. I'm going to have a graphic that you guys can screenshot, share into your story, and tag the Cowboy Creative on Instagram. And this giveaway right now is just going to be on Instagram, you guys. We may explore, going other places. But if you're listening to this is September of 2024. I want you guys to go there, screenshot that, tag the Cowboy Creative, and then you are going to be entered to win a coupon for our merch. And then also, everybody who enters for that entire month, we are going to select one person who is going to win free merch.
Yes,
so
you'll get like a box of goodies.
Super
excited. And if you are private, make sure that you message us like a screenshot of the story where you shared it. Because if you just tag us in a story, sometimes like if you're private, we can't see that unless we're already following you. So make sure if you're private that you're messaging us that as well.
So we're going to pick somebody every Friday to get a major coupon off of our Cowboy Creative merch. And then once a month, at the end of every month, we're going to pick somebody who's going to get a merch gift box, goodie bag, what have you, from Lauren and I. Because if you don't know anything about Lauren and I, we are gift givers, and
we love it.
Love
I love
it.
Gift giving. I love it. I absolutely. All the goodie bags, all of the welcome boxes, all of the bridal gifts, all the things. I'm like, just take all my money. I want to give it all to you. Here you go. Yes. And it's just like a way for us to show our appreciation to you guys as our listeners and as people that are kind of tuning in to this next episode of Lindsay and I's life, I guess you could say. Just the next chapter of the Cowboy Creative and everything like that. And if you're listening to this, it's almost been a month that we've been doing this, which is super exciting. And it's just been an awesome journey thus far. And we're really grateful for everyone that has come along to support us thus far. And
is this our first educational podcast? Our first, us just giving away free advice?
We did one over social media a couple weeks ago.
I just love social media so much. I guess it
didn't feel
seem
educational.
Like education.
Yeah.
No. Okay, maybe we shouldn't say that. Maybe we shouldn't say it didn't feel educational. It just felt like we were yapping.
Well, okay, but we kind of were. Like, we were yapping with purpose.
It's okay. It's fine.
Yes,
it's fine.
We were yapping with purpose.
We are excited to bring you guys even more education. Lauren and I are bringing entertainment, lots of laughs, hot takes, Q&As, and education. So, Lauren, you want to dive us into our topic today?
Absolutely. So, as we kind of entered in the beginning a little bit, we are talking all about building a solid routine as a business owner today. So, there's a lot of things that Lindsay and I have to say on this and different topics. But yeah, I'm super excited to dive in. I think the first thing that we'll say is it is important to have a solid routine as a business owner, especially as whether you are still working another job and you're not a full-time business owner or entrepreneur yet, or if you are full-time, it's important in both scenarios because in the, like, let's say you're still employed by someone else right now and you're working your business on the side, it's really important to have that routine and be super intentional with your time because your time is limited. And then as a full-time business owner, it is super important to have that routine because you don't want to just theoretically, yes, you could. Is it healthy? Absolutely not for you to stay in bed until 10 o'clock and just sleep in every morning and never get any work done or stuff like that because
Lauren is laying the law down. She's like, you lazy bums, get out of bed right now. No naps. Sleeping in's not allowed. Absolutely not.
It's okay. Understand yourself. If you're a night owl and you would like to sleep in until 10 and then you stay up until 1 a.m, all power to you. You go crazy. You go crazy. You do you. But I think like no matter what time you're getting up, like building a solid routine just
Yeah.
for your mornings, for your days, everything like that, a solid routine within your business and a solid routine out of your business are important to your success.
I think it really changes too, like as you're going through your business. If you are getting married, if you're starting a family,
Yep.
even if it's just like you by yourself, like your routine, your daily routine can change. Lauren, I think it'd be really beneficial because why don't you tell us a little bit about how you balanced running a full-time photography business while you were working a full-time job? Because there's a
Yes,
lot of
because
people out there who I'm
oh
sure are
my
still
gosh.
working.
Guys, by the time this comes out, I will have I'm fully full time now officially by the time that this is coming
Yay.
out. So
Snaps.
snaps. So exciting. I am super duper excited about this jump, this leap of faith, all the things. It's been in the works for a long time.
I mean, I've only been telling Lauren to go full time
For a long time.
I was like, Lauren, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Just do it.
Yes, exactly.
Here
So
we are.
Lauren's finally doing it. Here we are.
But
So I'm
she
super excited about that.
balanced
Yes.
a business while working a
Yes.
full-time job. Both were full-time, plus
Yep.
all the other craziness in her life,
Yeah,
plus planning a wedding.
And we'll
So
probably have to do like a full episode over this sometime, but like building that business, I got it to a place where it fully replaced plus more my full-time income. So, and I did that while still having that full-time income. And it's hard, guys. Like it is not easy to do that,
Yeah.
but it's one of those things that like sitting here now, I'm not like fully out of my full-time position yet. I still have a couple more weeks when we're recording this, but it feels so amazing, guys, to like finally
I'm
be
kind
to
of
that
scared
point.
for when you don't have a full-time job because I feel like you're gonna be like, we're gonna do this now, Lindsay, and I'll be like, Lauren, pause.
Hold on.
She's like,
Hold
you guys,
on.
the amount of work this girl can get done in a day when like she's trying to juggle all these other things. Like I am scared for me. And I'm like,
When
I'm
I
pretty
don't have
like
a full-time 40-hour job.
I'm gonna
like,
need Wathan to keep you busy. I'm gonna need him to like be like, hey Lauren, why don't you like renovate the kitchen? Or like be texting Wathan, like, can you please give Lauren like an objective for the day? So she's not like banging down my door like to do something.
Lindsay's like, I've got to edit today, Wathan. Find a project for Lauren to do because I do not have time for her today.
It's fine. But
it's fine. But the biggest thing about that, guys, was my routine and understanding the impact that routines can have on your life outside of your business and then also just your business as a whole. So just kind of like a little blip. We can go into it a little bit more, but a big thing that I did was really intentional, like to-do lists every single day. And I had like my daily objectives, my to-do list, those things like that. And all of my action items really were focused on things that were revenue building, business building activities. I didn't spend a lot of time on the BS little things in between. And so like, if you go back in my social media, really bad at social media for a really long time of my business because there for a while
social media is not BS.
Okay, no, I'm not saying it's BS. I'm saying for me, I'm not saying it's BS. I'm saying for me at a point in my business, there were other things that I needed to focus on outside of social media. So it's like looking at your priorities for the time that you have. Like, okay, I only have 8 hours a week to work on this. I need to be super intentional with what I'm doing in those 8 hours.
Yeah.
And it's like, for me, I found at least one business building activity I could do every single day. So that way I wasn't spending all of my days editing or just serving my clients. I was also finding ways to build my business and continue to build it. And so
can you take us through what a typical, because you have to go to work, even if you were working remotely or if you had to go in for meetings. So, and you also have a fiance, you guys have a house, you have dogs that you take for walks. So can you kind of walk us briefly through what a full day for Lauren looks like while juggling? Because I know there's so many photographers and creatives out there, especially with the economy, how it is, like nobody's taking that leap. And understandably so, but we want to help you. Hopefully, there's my words. Hopefully, help you guys make that leap. And for me personally, I just kind of went straight into my business. So I think Lauren should really tell us about what the days would look like.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I will first and foremost say that like I'm also like a pretty big health person. And so first and foremost, your sleep is the most important thing that you can get for yourself. And so I don't care like if you are in a season of life where you can only get like 6 or 7 hours of sleep a night, that is fine. But please only make that for a season. Don't make that your routine forever or things like that. I've been through those seasons where it's like, okay, I really do have to stay up late and only get like 4, 5, 6 hours of sleep tonight because I have to grind through this project. But please, please, please try and prioritize your sleep schedule. And a healthy sleep schedule is a consistent sleep schedule. So try and figure out a way that you can just be consistent with that. And so first things first, I would try and get up around like 5:30 to 6 every single morning. My fiance is an electrician. And so he is a very early morning blue collar guy. So he would get up, and then about the time that he was leaving, I would get up and out of bed and do my morning routine. And my morning routine really consists, and it's the same every single day. It might evolve or change depending on the season of life that I'm in. For the past few weeks, it has been get up, I go and like do my bathroom things, get ready, brush my teeth, all of those things, put on a workout set, and then I will go make my coffee, make my morning greens, all of those things. I'll sit down and spend time with God.
She has 70,000 drinks she drinks
have
in the morning.
70,000 drinks I drink in the morning, and Lindsay, it drives her crazy, but I am crazy and I love it. Okay, so I go make my morning drinks. I sit down and I spend time with God. First and foremost, I really try to give him the first portion of my day. So, and that looks different every day, guys. Like, I don't force myself to like sit down in my Bible every day. I don't force myself to like do X, Y, Z. Really try and make that something that is not just like checking it off the to-do list, really making it something that's like, okay, I'm just spending intentional time, and that's looking different every day. So whether it be journaling, whether it be praying, whether it be in my Bible, whether it be going through a study plan, different things like that, that kind of looks different. And then after that, I go on a walk with my dogs for like 30 to 45 minutes a day. And this is a scenario where I try to habit stack something. So on my walk, I am either like listening to an educational podcast. Like, I'm not just listening to music and kind of letting the time waste away. I'm either listening to like an educational podcast, doing like some YouTube research, or I will be like doing some, you can even spend this time scrolling through Instagram Reels or TikTok or something and finding inspo videos for
I'm just imagining you walking
media.
Into a bus because you're scrolling on.
Okay, so I do live in a new development neighborhood where there is not a whole lot going on right now.
It's not a whole lot of buses.
There's not a whole lot of buses. I am still very hyper aware of my surroundings. I only have one AirPod in, but I try to habit stack in some way and get like something else that needs done. So that could be answering emails. That could be, it looks different from day to day, but I really try to habit stack there. After that, I will get back inside, and it depends also like if I was going into the office this day or if I was working from home. But let's say I was working from home and I just had to be in my seat at 8 a.m. And so I would get home, I'd change, shower, get ready for the day, put on my makeup. I'm a really big proponent of like getting yourself ready in some way, even if like you're in comfy workout clothes that day, like maybe you do your hair, or maybe you put on some jewelry, or at least like put on your tennis shoes or something like that. Like, don't just like be a bum, because I feel like if you feel better about yourself, you are going to be more productive. And so I try to get ready in some way, shape, or form. Looks different every day, but get ready in some way, shape, or form. Sit down for the day, and I work from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. with an hour lunch break. So that hour lunch break was always really spent either like bothering Lindsay a lot, or doing other things for my business, trying to really make the most of that middle of the day time. And then after work, so got off at 5. It really depends night to night. I really tried to get a lot of my business things done in the evenings though. So I would either try and prioritize an hour in my mornings before work and just get up a little bit earlier, or a few hours in the evenings, and trying to balance life and work and a business at the same time is really hard. I don't feel like you're ever going to be 100% at all of them. But a big thing I just tried to remember was, if I was sacrificing my social life for a little bit, it's just for a season. It's not forever. And yeah, so it just depended on the season I was in, whether I was spending another 6 hours at my computer doing business things, or whether I was going and leading our life group, or if I was going out and getting drinks with friends or something like that. Even on the nights that I would like go lead a life group or go get drinks with friends, or it was date night or something like that, still trying to find at least an hour out of my day, or 2 hours that I could sit down and be so extremely intentional with that time. That's like, I'm setting a timer, and these are the 3 biggest things that I need to get done right now that are going to be business building activities, or like I need to sit down and I need to edit and I need to grind this out, and not really like fiddle farting around. It really made me get to a point in my business where I was like, productivity was at its height, because I didn't have a choice otherwise, because it was like, I had to. I didn't, it was like, if I wanted to get to this spot where I am full time, it really kind of lit a fire under me to get it working. So it's not perfect. It never will look perfect. Things are going to look different during different phases of your life, depending on what you're prioritizing. But if your priority is building your business to a point where you can quit your full-time job and go full-time with it, understanding that there will be sacrifices that you have to make during that season, in order to get to a point where, like I will be now, when this podcast episode is coming out, of being able to work like actual working hours during the middle of the day and have like turn off work and have my full evenings or things like that too. So,
well, and the other thing too is I saw this quote one time by like a business guru, and they were like, you'll be surprised, like, and I'm not saying it word for word, but the gist of it was you would be surprised how many of life's problems can be solved if you do a solid 90 minutes of uninterrupted work a day. And one thing I will say is that, like, I kind of said my journey was a lot different from Lauren's. I really went, so if you guys don't know me, don't anything, just I was a college dropout, not on purpose, freak things happened, whatever. So it kind of was just like I got thrown into this. I did have like part-time jobs, was like coaching volleyball. I worked at Buffalo Wild Wings for a second. Hey, how can I make your wings today? Not sponsored. But anyways, I also was not working in the kitchen, so I don't even know why I said that. But anyways, like my journey looked a lot different. There was definitely like I had to learn how to navigate. Like, I will say this, I went from playing college volleyball where we were on a very strict schedule, sort of like what Lauren is talking about, like right now, like where she would wake up and she would do this. I played such high level competitive sports my entire life that's literally what my life was like for so long that when I didn't have it anymore, like it was, I will say this, it was nice to be able to sleep in until like 8 a.m. when you were used to waking up at 5 or 4 to go do weights for like college volleyball. Like, if you don't know what weights is, it's just basically like conditioning, but like you're lifting weights. But anyways, like just being on such a strict schedule for basically since I was 12 years old until I was dropping out of college, like it was nice to be able to have that little bit of a break. And my business wasn't full throttle at that point. I still was kind of messing around, didn't know if I was going to do it or not. And I will say there was probably like a solid year to 2 years where I would just kind of like sleep until my dog wouldn't stop barking. But I also was at, I'm not going to lie, not to like go off on the train right now of depressing, but I was at a very low point in my life where I had lost like what I thought my life was going to be, what I thought my career path was, and just like making this major shift. And so I did sleep a lot. I did sleep a lot. It was kind of more, you know, navigating that. And if there's anybody out there that's listening, I think it's okay to take time to let your body mentally and physically recover from trauma. Cause even like mental trauma is still physically draining on your body. Like, I've unfortunately gone through a lot of it in my life, and it is fine to take a season, like Lauren's saying, just make it a season. Take a season to just basically hibernate, recoup, figure out what you want to do in life. And so now I'm to the point, it actually annoys the crap out of my husband, Tucker, but I have my body so trained where I'm back on that early wake up schedule that I used to be when I was playing competitive sports. And I literally wake up like anywhere from 5:30 to 6. My body has a natural alarm clock that just automatically wakes up. And it doesn't matter if it's a Saturday or a Sunday. I wake up at the same time. I do not. Now, when Lauren books me a flight and I have to leave for DIA at 2 a.m., yes, I do have to set an alarm for that. But for the most part, my body is just like such on a routine now. And we're trying to do the same things that like it literally between 5:30 and 6, my body is naturally waking up. I am typically not still in bed at 6 a.m. unless I was like shooting a wedding till 1 a.m. the night before or something like that. And then right around I would say like 9 p.m. my body is shutting down. We're going downhill fast, sort of deal. So kind of what I have done is I start by waking up. And I am really like intentional about making sure I raise cattle. My husband and I raise cattle. We have cattle here at our house. We have cattle at our ranch. It's about 19 minutes away from our house. So I'm really intentional about making sure when I wake up, Tucker and I are having a conversation because it changes when you have livestock. You don't know what's going to go wrong that day. So it kind of changes. And, you know, we have a discussion. I'm like, hey, what are the plans today? Because both of us work at home, and we really have to be intentional about what are the plans? What do we need to do? Do you have a session today? Do the cattle need hay? Do we need to move the cattle? Do we need to work the cattle? What needs to happen there? So my life gets a little bit more like, I wouldn't say flexible. I don't know what the right word for it would be, but it's a little bit more like not
Ebb
go
and
with the
flow.
flow. But
There's an ebb and flow to things.
there's
Like you
there's
have to be
sometimes
flexible to like you're not going to
like
sit down and plan out hour by hour this is how your day's going to go. Like you're not a time
exactly.
blocker, whereas like I'm a time blocker. I'm a big believer in time blocking, but then Lindsay's over here like
The cows are out.
maybe not. Like Lindsay's more of a like master to-do list. This is what I have to do today.
Yeah. Well, I actually make a
that-
master to-do list for the week. So
Yeah.
I found that because like when I do it on a daily basis, I found that it puts too much pressure on myself. And like growing up in like highly competitive environments through showing livestock and playing high level sports, that pressure cooker environment really kind of like slows down my creativity because it kind of puts me back in that headspace of you have to be the best, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's not a healthy place to be. So where I have found my kind of my money spot or my golden spot, I guess, is where I give myself a big long to-do list for a week. And I tell myself, and I literally like I love to write it down on a piece of paper. I just have a scratch piece of paper in my office and I write them down on Monday or I write them down on Sunday. And I literally love to like watch myself scratch it off. Like I take this big fat Sharpie and just scratch that sucker off when I get done like editing a session or recording a podcast with Lauren. And it's like it just gives me more fuel to keep going. Now, because my husband and I both work from home, plus we're running the cattle operation, like it is just kind of chaotic at all times. And I feel like that can be said too. Like if you're listening out there, maybe you are a mom or you're a dad. I'm sure with kids, I don't have kids of my own, but I'm sure it's very similar to the cattle where they get hurt, they get sick, they're out of food, they need water. Like something's always happening, right? So like just kind of like knowing that when you have that master to-do list of things that you need to get done and then talking, I think having, if you do have a life partner, I think having a partner who is supportive and understanding is super important. Like I have straight up told Tucker, like when he first started working from home, he would come to me, he'd come into my office, he'd open the door, he'd be like, hey, what's for breakfast? I don't know. I don't care what's for breakfast. Then he'd come back around 12. He'd be like, what's for lunch? He'd be like, what's for lunch? And I'd be like, sir. Because like I had been working from home by myself for about 7 years at this point. When he started working from home too, because he took over his dad's business. And so it was a lot. It was a lot of fighting, a lot of adjusting because we were both on top of each other in the house. We're both trying to work from home. So if you are also navigating that, I feel your pain. It'll get better. And one thing I had to do is I had to tell Tucker, I was like, hey, like these are the things I need you to do. If you can, if you want breakfast in the morning, then you need to be the one that figures that out. I'm good not eating breakfast. That's fine. And I think like finding like the people in your life, if it's your kids, if it's your parents, if it's your partner, like finding a way to kind of communicate, here's what I need because I'm running a business. Because when you work from home, it is so much different, especially working from home, running your own business. You can work from home and you can have a boss somewhere else in the country or the internet telling you, hey, you need to get all these things done. I need you to clock in, clock out by this time. This is when your lunch break is. But when you work for yourself, it is so easy to be able to just go watch Netflix, go do something that is not productive. And there's pros and cons to that. Like if we need to run a cow into the vet, like we got to haul her in because there's an emergency going on. Oh my gosh, it's amazing not to be able to, or not to have to ask for permission to do that. Like literally doing that. But the same thing comes where like I have deadlines. I have to tell my clients like you're going to have pictures back by this time, or my contracts have deadlines, and you need to just make sure you are still holding yourself accountable. So a few ways that I have found that work for me is just waking up early. I try. So like there's certain situations. So like Lauren and I are batch recording these podcasts and that works really well. But then there's other times like editing. I am not a batch editor. I have to be feeling it. I have to be in the moment. I have to be like feeling the vibe to be able to make those the best possible creative work I can produce. So I hate to advise batching your to-do list. I think I don't know. I don't know what
It
the
depends.
right thing to say when that would be. If there's things like this where Lauren and I are like, okay, we can knock this out. Or if I have meetings with clients, I'm like, okay, I can knock that out. I can batch do that. But when it's like editing, something that's so creative, like I feel like you have to give yourself a little bit of grace.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing too is give yourself time off. I know Lauren always has date
Yes.
nights. She has leadership. She goes to church. For me, I always like clients, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but the reason Sundays aren't available is because I don't work Sundays anymore. For a large portion of the beginning part of my career as a photographer, I would just go hard in the paint, as Lauren likes to say. I would shoot multiple sessions on Saturdays. I'd shoot multiple sessions on Sundays. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, there are instances where I'm just like such a good fit for a client and like I'll shoot a double header wedding, meaning I'll shoot a wedding on Saturday and then I'll shoot one on Sunday. But then I'm very intentional about taking Monday and Tuesday off,
Yep.
giving myself time to recuperate. Because if you were just working, your creativity is going to suffer, your relationships are going to suffer, your home's probably going to be a mess. Nobody likes that.
Yeah. And genuinely, nothing is worth, like, your business is not worth letting your relationships and your mental health suffer. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, point blank, I will sit here and preach that to the end of time. Like, even when I was in the building phases of my business, still prioritized, like, spending intentional time with Wathan, still going on date nights, still, like, finding ways that we could connect. And I wasn't working because, like, could I have spent those 2 hours working, editing, things like that? Absolutely. But I look back now, like 6 months later, and I'm like, oh, I'm so glad that I spent the intentional time going on those date nights, building our relationship, like doing life and not just letting my business all consume me during those growth stages, because it's easy to let it consume you. And
Yeah.
it's just
It's
like it's the
easy.
quickest road to burnout is
Yeah.
honestly what it is.
Well, and here's the thing too, is like I am guilty of it, but when I first started out, and what I mean like for a solid 5 to 6 years, you guys, like I was letting clients dictate when and how hard I needed to work.
Yeah.
So like this is like something that's really only I've been good about in the last 3 years, which is crazy to say, but like I wasn't setting boundaries with my clients.
Yeah.
I didn't have like, even if it's not an automated response, like for example, I had a client who texted me several years ago. I had a client who was calling me repeatedly on Father's Day. And I remember like we were like playing volleyball on the trampoline with my dad. And I remember I had to get up and walk away and I answered it. And it was one of my grooms for one of my weddings. I was like, hey, like, is everything okay? What's going on? They're like, oh yeah, we just wanted to chit chat about the wedding. They're like, I was like, oh, well, I'm kind of spending time with my dad right now. And like, no hate to them, but they were just kind of oblivious. They were like, well, this is when we want to talk. So then now they had me on the phone. So one thing I did to kind of stop that, because they weren't hearing me when I'm like, oh yeah, I'm spending time with my dad, because if you looked at the calendar, it's kind of Father's Day, you know. So I literally put on my email signature, it still lists my phone number, but it lists my phone number and says by appointment only.
Yep.
So you can't just call me. And then I'm very clear with my clients from the beginning. I'm like, please always email me. If it
Yep.
is an emergency that you need an immediate answer for, you can send me a text message and I will get to the text message as soon as possible.
Mm-hmm.
No phone calls, only by appointment. And when
Yep.
people want to do bridal meetings, they want to talk about their wedding, again, that's by appointment. And I'm very careful and I tell my clients, I send them those emails. You have to get ahead of the game with your clients. So
Yeah.
instead of waiting for your client to come to you and be like, hey, when are we going to have a meeting about my wedding? Because usually after you book your client, this is speaking for weddings only. I can't, maybe sale photos for livestock or the same way. I don't know. But like usually when they first book, I send them kind of like a welcome email that's like, hey, thanks for booking. It kind of gives them a little bit more information. It maps things out. It's like, so first we're going to have your engagement session. I'm going to send you a session prep email. It's going to come out at this time. Then I'm going to edit your pictures. Then when we get about 5 months out from your wedding, we can start thinking about making a photo timeline. If you want it sooner than that, please let me know and I will send you the questionnaire so we can get it sooner than that. And then it says, after you have filled out your questionnaire, and I say this multiple times, even when I send the questionnaire to them to ask them questions about like, how are we going to build their timeline for their day? I say things like, I'm going to need at least 72 hours that are business days, so like not Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to need 72, because a lot of these people will fill them out on Friday night, Saturday, or Sunday and expect me to be checking my phone while I'm shooting somebody else's
Yeah.
wedding on a Saturday, or while I'm on Sunday having my personal private time. Like, I'm sorry, I love you guys, but it's just not realistic. It's not sustainable. It's not
Yep.
good or healthy for anyone. And I will say, like, hey, then after I have had 72 hours to review your questionnaire after you've answered it, then I'm going to hit you back. You can pick out a time Monday through Thursday to, I can take meetings from 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. They usually last 90 minutes. Like, I'm literally explaining everything from A to Z to these people, because that is not you being helicopter. That's not you being OCD. That is you giving your client reassurance while also giving that boundary, so they know, oh, Lindsay's not going to have a meeting with us on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, because we don't know why, but we don't care. So that's what it is. And I always look at it like this. If I need to make a dentist appointment, or I need to make a doctor's appointment, and it's just like a routine checkup sort of deal, chances are they're not seeing me on Sunday at 8 p.m. That's probably not going to happen, Now, if you want to go to the emergency room and pay lots of money, we can make it happen. We can do whatever you want if you want to pay lots of money. Just joking. That's not healthy either. But still, it's like just being very intentional with your clients about letting them know, hey, this is when I can talk to you. And that's not you being rude. That's just you setting the standard early on.
The standards. Yeah.
Yeah. And I even had a client that messaged me this year on, it was 4th of July. Bless her heart. I love her so much. But I just and immediately, when I first got the text message, it was just like a text message again. She wanted to talk about her wedding that was coming up in a few weeks. And I immediately felt like anxiety, just like I felt like just the rush come over me. I felt like a wave hit me. And I'm like, gosh darn it. Like, we're trying to get ready to go to this barbecue to spend time with my family. And she's texting me. And so I took a deep breath. And I don't automate any of these text messages. I just write them, and I try to write them very generically. And I'm like, hey, thank you so much. I hope you guys have a great 4th of July. I'm actually out of the office today. I'll be back in the office on, I don't know, if 4th of July fell on Monday or something. I'd be like, on Tuesday at 9 a.m. I'd love to chat with you then. And, when you send those things that are just so simple like that, and you don't just ghost your client, or you don't entertain the idea, but you're very specific, you say, hey, I see you. I hear you. Here's the solution. We'll talk then. Everything is resolved. And she was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. I didn't even realize it was 4th of July. Yeah, have a great day. We'll talk on Tuesday. And everything was avoided. And I think that is so important for when you are you keep your clients happy, you stay sane, you get to spend time with your family, and just all's well ends well. Is that how I say that? Is that correct?
Yeah. I think it's just a really big thing that don't be afraid to set boundaries with your timelines and your schedules and stuff like that, because you are what your priorities are right now. And so if your business is completely running your life, other places are going to suffer. Yeah. And so don't let your business run your life. Have your boundaries set so that you can still go and spend time with family, things like that. And I think it's just important that you understand how you act as an individual and how your personality is. Because if you are going full time with your business and you know damn well that you're not a morning person, and that you are not meant to be getting up at 5 a.m., but you create, you listen to this and you're like, oh, I'm so motivated to go set a routine and create a routine that's because my morning routine, guys, it's pretty intense. It is I made it a little bit lighter on here, but I have a notes app in my phone that says routine, and it is time blocked. It's a time blocked routine of I get up at this time. It takes me this long to brush my teeth.
She's just a little bit crazy. You
I'm
guys.
a little bit crazy. And so if you decide to go and do something like that, but you're a person that likes to get up at 7 or 8 and stay up a little bit later at night.
She says that as if you're waking up at 3 p.m. If you like to, wake up at 8 and be a lazy bum, I guess it's
I'm
fine.
not calling you lazy, okay? Because there are days that I do it too. All right, that's not my intention. But if you like to do that, if you're a mid-morning person of getting up and you're not a 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. riser, don't set your morning routine to be okay, I'm gonna get up at 5 and I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that and I'm gonna do all of these things, and then I'm gonna start my work day at 8 a.m. and this is how I'm gonna do it. And then your alarm starts rolling around and you are I hate my life. I was not the person that I was when I
was a different
routine.
person when I booked that flight.
Yep. Okay. Shut up. But it's one of those things that's just understand how you act and what you like, and don't be afraid to let your routine evolve and let your routine change as life changes, things like that.
I know a lot of photographers that are moms, and they literally have to block it out, so they edit pictures when their kids are asleep. So they're editing pictures from say 8 p.m. till 10 p.m. every single night, and that's fine. And then maybe they're waking up at 7, closer to when the school bus is going to come, and they're not because they're staying up later. And I think it's just figuring out what works best for you.
Yeah, exactly. And it's find what works best for you and then stick with it. Don't be, Find what works for you and then stick with it. It's one of those things that is so important, just the consistency in that. Give yourself grace, give yourself a lot of grace as you're learning and as you're growing and as life happens. But at the same time, find what works for you. So like Lindsay, she's like, I'm a weekly to-do list person and I just know what I have to get done this week. I am a daily to-do list person. I know what I have to get done each day. I plan it out. I plan it out a week in advance. So like I know my schedule for each day. So I know what things are going to look like. And I'm a daily person and that's what works for me. I like to build my routines in my days day by day, and stuff like that. But I also give myself a lot of grace that if I get a phone call and I need to like go run home, or like today I called my grandma this morning and she's like, hey, we need to do a dress fitting, like your wedding's in 2 weeks, like we got to do a dress fitting. And so I'm like, okay, so
oops.
my day schedule changed and evolved
Yeah.
because of that, and that is completely fine. Just
think,
give yourself
like,
a lot of grace with it, but don't be
the
afraid to.
key points that we're trying to get at is build a routine that you can somewhat stick to. It is more than okay to have a fluid routine that changes day to day, but try to give yourself some bounds to stay within, because the more you do it, the more consistent you are with that. Pretty soon it's just going to be like second nature. Just like how my body's just naturally waking up at 5:30 and Tucker wants to punch me in the face. He's like, go back to sleep. You're annoying me. All kinds of things like that. The man loves to sleep in on Sundays. That's all I'll say.
Fair.
Okay. Anyways, and then make sure you are budgeting enough time for family, for loved ones, for activities that you want to do, whether that's church, if that is going out with your friends, if that's going shopping, if that's vegging out on the couch watching Netflix. You need to build time for that into your schedule, because you guys, I can't tell you how many times I did not do that at the beginning, and I didn't realize it was dragging my creativity down, but it truly was, because I was just like a robot. I was just like a machine, just pumping out the pictures, pumping out the edits, just work. And you need to set time. The other thing really quickly on that is like, you do also need to be aware that there are some people who are in your life, be it friends, family, neighbors, whatever, coworkers. They are just not going to understand what it is to be an entrepreneur, to be a small business owner. And you need to just be okay with it. Just accept it. And just like, I'm not saying cut them out of your life. I'm just saying you just need to understand there are some people who are not going to get it. And that is perfectly fine. I can sit here and say, I don't understand what it's like to be a mom, because I'm not a mom. And I don't think I would ever understand unless I was a mom. And that's fine. That is perfectly fine. I still have friends that are moms. It's fine. Anyways, and then just kind of like make sure you are setting the precedent early with your clients. Make sure you are getting it. Don't wait for them to ask you, hey, when can we do a meeting? You tell them, here's the options for when we can do a meeting. Not because you're being, a dictator, but because you're trying to get ahead of it, because you are ultimately just going to look super prepared to them. And that can be an automated email template that is scheduled to go out. This sounds so cliche. Work smarter, not harder. And I think we should do some like freebies to help with that.
Oh yeah, 1,000%. We can definitely find some freebies. I don't know what necessarily those will be yet, but there will definitely be some.
Just stay tuned.
We don't know. Just stay tuned. Stay tuned. You're gonna have to go look in the show notes of this video, or go find us on our socials. Stay tuned.
Or make sure you're signed up for our email list, because all of our freebies are going to be coming from there. Is there anything else, Lauren, before we wrap it up?
I don't think so. I think this really just drives it all home. I love routines. I geek out on them. I could probably, without Lindsay and I doing dialogue, I could probably sit here and talk about them all day. So if you're a person that you're like, hey, I have some questions, or I want to learn more, or something like that, don't feel ashamed, or feel free to reach out to us, ask more. And I'm more than happy to answer any questions or help you out.
So for all those freebies that we talked about, make sure you are signed up for our email list. It is completely free. Miss Planner Lauren over there, she is definitely the one who is in charge of all that. So when you get like scheduled emails that come out, that's Lauren. That's Lauren.
I should stop signing it, Lauren and Lindsay. I should stop signing it, Lauren.
Shut up.
In parentheses, Lindsay helped with this maybe a little bit.
Lindsay helped. I'm definitely over on social media making things funny. So if you want to hear funny stuff, go over there. So you can follow us on Instagram. It's the Cowboy Creative. And you can go to Facebook, follow us. We're on Threads. And we're also on TikTok. And then just a reminder, make sure this is Thursday when it's coming out. Go ahead and go over to our Instagram page, the Cowboy Creative. Screenshot what I have inside of our story right now. or I'll put it inside of our highlights. You'll find it. It'll be super easy to find. Screenshot that, share it into your story, tag the Cowboy Creative, and you'll be entered to win a coupon on our merch and ultimately be entered to win our grand prize at the end of the month, each month, which is going to be free goodie bag full of merch from us.
Oh, yes. And as always, if you guys did enjoy what you were hearing today and all of those things, please just take like 60 seconds and scroll down below and leave us a review. Lindsay and I really do love reading those and love hearing more about what you guys are thinking, seeing, all the things with our podcast. And we just can't wait to continue to walk on this journey with you guys. And we will see you next week on another episode of The Next Generation with the Cowboy Creatives. Talk to y'all later.
Bye.